Hi, we're the Megami Brigade, and we're here with Chris, and this
That's
is
me.
his 4th place profile from 2017 August Circuit, Houston, Texas.
Alright, so here we go. Demon Lords. So we're starting off with our boy, Bots, the size 3 Demon Lord. For those who don't know, you pitch a card during your main phase, call any one of these boys from your deck to the field. You essentially get to just toolbox anything you want, which makes him super busted. He's not a fair card. Bushiroad, what are you doing? That's laughing in the background. You're right. You'll notice that's the only 4 of monster in the entire deck. That's because he's the only 4 of monster you want in your hand. Next up, we got our boy, Chaos Blade Joker. He combos really well with bots. Basically, when you discard him, like through bots' effect, for instance, you can pay 1 life to call him from the drop zone and give a monster on your field +1 crit. Bots has double attack. He has 2 crit. That's a 3 crit double attacker. That's nuts. Next up, we got our 2 ofs. You'll notice that Chaos Blade's the only 3 of monster, so we got 2 of next. We got the bird, Bladewing Phoenix. He has 10,000 attacking power. That can hit basically everything. But more importantly than that, he has double attack and he destroys things when he attacks. His ability also cycles cards back into the deck, so you can get your tasty 1-ofs on the next turn. Jack basically will enter the field with 2 soul. As long as he has 2 soul, he has penetrate and double attack. So when you're facing off against a close center deck, he's going to be your main boy. Next up, you have Athera at 2. All these 2-ofs have double attack. Most of these things do. Basically, he keeps bots from being destroyed during either player's turn. He also protects your Satsuki Palace, which we'll get to later. Bots can't be destroyed during your turn, and Athera protects them during both turns, so double protection on your turn. Next is the 1-ofs. We got Dekaruzar here. When he enters the field, you can salvage something from your drop zone back to your hand. Any Demon Lord or Destruction. We don't run any Destruction in this deck, but we got a lot of Demon Lords. You can search basically, well, you can't search this, but this, and this. Also any monster. He's a really good first turn play. Another good first turn play is our boy Grados. Gagnar. Grados is a later play. Gagnar. Thank you, Haley. Gagnar, whenever he enters the field, you shuffle your entire gauge into the deck, and you gain 3 gauge. So you drop him first turn, he basically refunds himself. Really good. Tasty 4 crit, fakes a shield, or they take 4 damage. We got our boy Seeger here. Seeger's another late game player. Basically, he has triple attack. Lifelink 4 though, so if you're going up against the Loki, you might have a bad time. Next up, we got Ibuki. I see a lot of people running 4 of this. I kind of get it, but at the same time, Usually, what I like to do is turn 1, if I have a bonus quest in hand, I'll discard him through that, because you don't want him in your hand. You want him in the drop zone. Basically, try to Foolish Burial him as soon as possible. Miseria's here to stop your monsters from having their effects nullified. So if you're going up against something like Oberon or a Dragon Force from Star Dragon World, you're going to want this boy as soon as possible. Drum, he's at the start of your attack phase, he's on your right. You can destroy your opponent's left and right. He has Penetrate, really useful. Next we have the Great Founder. He's like Drum and Bladewing. He gets Destruction. He helps you to destroy things. but he can do it 4 times. He's the best Grados that has ever been printed. It's really nice. He has double attack that he gains through his effect. Next up, we have De Cruzar, the Impact Monster. I actually didn't really go into this that much. Like, if I had to choose a card to cut from the main deck entirely, it would be De Cruzar. I only used him once through the entire tournament, and he wasn't really that useful. So, if I cut him, I would put in something like Bunny Call or a maybe another size 3. Not really great.
I think the issue here is that because box makes your size the small ones, he has to be played on top of the box, which means you're throwing away the best card in the deck in order to have maybe a little bit more pushing power.
As well as I like to discard my monsters a lot to put them into the Soul of Satsuki Palace. So in the end, I'm removing my resources to make his ability useful. So, minus. Satsuki Palace is next up, and it is not a fair card. Basically, you take 2 Demon Lords from your drop zone. It doesn't have to be a monster. It can be a spell as well if you're super desperate. But at any point when your center is open, you can just call it from the soul for free. Not for free. Reduced gauge. This is why Ibuki's here, because you slide Ibuki into the soul, you call them through the effect during the attack phase if they destroy your bots, and you can get rid of an attacking monster, deal in damage, and steal a gauge. Not steal a gauge, but they lose a gauge. Also, any monster that would be called from anywhere other than the hand has its call cost reduced by 1 gauge. That stacks, because this is not a... it can control as many of these as you could draw. Once again, not fair. Growl's Wand, in addition to being a stick, it reduces the lifelink of all monsters on your field. So, lifelink 1, all these have their lifelink reduced by 1, lifelink 3, and Blade Wing has no lifelink. Because it's 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. You can do math, I think. I hope. Next up we have Shalsana. 2 arts, because I got a shiny in this art. You know what this does. Evil Ritual, it's a Sun Dragon Shield for your boys. We got your Call Super Machine. I wish it could call non-monsters, but only monsters. Not impact monsters, that's fine. We don't want this in hand anyway. Reset button, basically Gagnar skill, but 4 gauge instead of 3.
But you must have at least 1.
You must have 1 gauge. Magicalized Release, gain 2 gauge, steal an opponent's gauge. I won at least 1 game through the tournament because I stole 1 gauge. That one, never underestimate stealing 1 gauge. Next up we have Bonus Quest. The new card, what it does is you discard a size 2 or greater monster. Gain 2 gauge, draw 2 cards, and gain a life. It doesn't have a life break requirement like Golden Treasure Box. So you can use it turn 1, you can use it whenever you want, just as long as you have the 2 cards to discard, including Death on your monster, you'll get your thing. I considered running Golden Treasure Box, but I'm running so many one-ofs that there's a risk of drawing too many cards. That sounds counterintuitive, but when you got a bunch of one-ofs that you need on command at any given time, it kind of makes sense. Even with all the recycling that Blade, Grados, and Dual Seeker does, you still can't have too many cards out of your deck. We got 1 Miseria, in case you do run into that matchup where they can consistently negate your things. De Cruzar, this was the only side deck card I never went into, so this would get cut. Bunny Call, for like, if you go up against Black Dragons and you really need to stop your monsters from getting destroyed, this can also protect your Satsuki Palace or your item, if for whatever reason you need to do that. Preemptive Strike is a new spell that came out as a box topper. At counter speed, you can pay 1 life to destroy a monster on your opponent's field and potentially gain a gauge. Potentially. Barbed Wire should need no explanation. You know what it does. remove. Another self-explanatory card. You're up against that Black Dragon player. They got their death count at 2 soul. Guess what? They got no soul now. Now, one card I did wish I ran in my deck, and this probably would have won me my top 4 match against Van and his Cosmo Dragoons, is Ball. Simply, it's the Impact Monster Ball, but smaller. 10-2-3, if it's attacking alone, it can't be negated. If you're up against someone who's running a lot of shields, and draws a lot of shields, like Cosmo Dragoons, this ruins their day. I had Van at 2 life, so I could have just dropped him, but I didn't run the card. In addition, it gives your center +1 critical. He also has Penetrate. I do recommend running this card, even though I didn't. And that's essentially it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter.
We don't have a Twitter.
Yeah, the fucking Tumblr.
Don't forget to follow our Tumblr, Megane Brigade, and
the other one.
the other Tumblr.
Yeah, the Midnight one.
Tumblr.
We don't have a Tumblr.
You're a Tumblr.
No, okay. You're right. Subscribe to the same picture of midnight every midnight on Tumblr.com.
Hit me up on Facebook. Savage.
The-same-midnight.tumblr.com. It's a real good time.
Stop Hero World 2K17. I haven't forgotten about you, Jamel. You just got to support your.
Wait, we're not done.
Oh my god.
Be aware. Be aware.
Overturn was a mistake. 2017.
Bushiroad has an Instagram now.
Oh my god.
Use that. Use it. Use it as a
Feel free
chance
to cut
to finally.
that whenever.